my friends. Welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by Mafia Sports Report. I'm Dr. Love, and as always, the boss sauce himself, Sauce Brunson.
What's happening, y'all?
And I'll tell you right now, we got a week here. I'll tell you. All I gotta say is it's gonna be an all-out clash as worlds collide. What can I say?
I see what you did there.
Yes, we have a lot to talk about. But before we get into anything this upcoming weekend, we do, there's a little bit from last week that we didn't get to cover, and I'm going to pass this over to Sauce because he actually had some cool stuff he did last week.
So near the end of the last week's podcast, I talked about going to SmackDown. My dad's never been before, so I wanted to surprise him. It actually worked out pretty good. We went there, we had a good time. So at Little Caesars Arena, they have these things called the mezzanine seats, and they're not quite, they're not like the regular stadium seats, but they're like bar seats where you have like a little like area table and sit down and be a little comfortable. But they do tell you that it's limited view, only because there was at one moment, there was a couple moments where there was either a kid sitting in front of me or like adults sitting in front of me. So his head would kind of cover the ring a bit. But if I move over this way, move over that way, it was pretty much, I was good to go. It's almost kind of like standing room. Like a couple of months ago, I went to GCW. And, unless standing room only works if you're over like 6'3". So, but for overall, like it was SmackDown, like it was a pretty good show. I was entertained with the ending going on, all around, no complaints. And then, so what they did was they did two tape delays. So they did the current Friday at 7. So they got that out the way, and then at 9:00 they did next week's show. Because obviously, there's no way that those guys would have been done, this Friday. Leave at about 11:00 and then get to fly overseas to Europe and be ready to go. Of course,
that makes complete sense to tape it. Yeah. So you got two shows, so that's awesome
for the price of one. And I only paid like $50. I only paid like $50 for those seats. And so not to spoil anything because, and these are not spoilers, of course, because they announced that Ronda, was going to be, was coming back next week. So I'm gonna tell y'all right now, she actually cut a decent promo. Like I actually paid attention. Well, not only because I had to sit there and had to, but it was almost like they let her be herself. And I was thinking over the weekend, when it comes to wrestlers and the characters and whatnot, some people are good at playing the character and others are good at, playing themselves. And Ronda is definitely one of those that's good at playing herself.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on that for sure.
Because like the promo she cut, it actually caught my attention. And also, then the main event, they have a tag match with the Viking Raiders and New Day. It was actually, I ain't gonna lie, it was actually entertaining as hell. So they had it was a tornado tag match. So that's all I'm gonna say. But it was entertaining. It was definitely entertaining as hell.
Well, that's awesome. And going back to your seats that you were talking about, I mean, I'll tell you right now, to be comfortable, an actual seat so I can kind of sit and watch. If I have to just move a little bit like that, that's fine. I mean, it's not like you have a pillar in front of you or something. But yeah, I'll get those seats every time, my friend. I will.
And that's what I did because I went to AEW a couple months ago, and I had some guys that were, now I'm 5'9", so I had some friends with me that one is like 6'2", the other one's like 6'1", and they are no means little guys either. So you're trying to fit 3 pieces of the pod, it just ain't working. So when we try to get those seats, the mezzanines, but they was already sold out, which makes sense. But now from now on, I said whatever show coming out, yep, that's the seats I need.
That sounds good, man. I mean, Yeah, I heard it was a good show, and I watched it, and I can't wait to see this week's show. And going back to what you said about Ronda Rousey and finding her character, even though it's herself, that's the
Yeah.
best thing that could have happened to her. She debuted. Everyone, they liked it at first, but then they didn't like her anymore because she was just the happy, smiling face that just like, no, be the ruthless MMA fighter that talks so much smack during her MMA fights. Like,
Yeah. You got to keep pointing at the sign as you talk. As she did. Every time you talk, you got to point at the WrestleMania sign.
Yep. Yeah.
I'm the baddest woman on the planet.
Yep. I'll get one. Actually, put it right back here and be like, every time we talk, and say, "What are you doing?" Be like, WrestleMania. That's it. Just.
But this time, yeah, she did not point at the. She did not point at the sign, and her promo. I would definitely say if y'all tune in to SmackDown this Friday, like she definitely. This is probably one of the more better promos she's cut.
That's good. That's awesome, man. Well, I'm glad you had fun, and so going forward a little bit for the rest of the weekend. I heard that you did something this weekend you've never done before, Sauce. And I should know because I was with you, Sauce. So, but what did you do? What did we do this weekend?
So we're not to get too off topic, but we went to I went to the Renaissance Festival for the first time in my life, and it actually wasn't. I would expect to walk in basically walking into Lord of the Rings. And that's pretty much what it was. And actually, but I had a pretty good time though. We did this bar crawl pub thing, and I'm not really a guy that drinks beer much anymore, but actually, it was a couple. I mean, Guinness is always good. They had this apricot beer that was good. At one point, I saw about 3 Sheamuses walking around, and a couple Becky Lynches. Not so much Finn Balor, but
Viking Raiders, pretty much.
Oh yeah. They definitely had some Viking Raiders. You saw Drew McIntyre here and there, but I mainly went because I wanted the turkey legs. So the $10 was worth every bit of those legs.
See, it can be related, pay-per-views in Cardiff, here we go, Renaissance Festival. So, yeah, it works. But, it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I definitely had a clash with those turkey legs.
I see what you did there. Yeah, so, hey, that's awesome, man. That's awesome. But, now going forward to this week being like the go-home week, basically, for everything that's going on this weekend, there's a lot of stuff going on, and I figured we could start off with the show that's got kind of the least amount of information. It's pretty straightforward a little bit, but at 4:00 on Sunday at Eastern time will be the NXT Worlds Collide. It'll be the last NXT UK show until the next year when they rebrand NXT UK to NXT Europe. So, which we briefly talked about last week. So, as of now, we only have 2 confirmed matches. Where you have the women's match, which is Mandy Rose versus Mieko Satomura and Blair Davenport. And I'll tell you right now, I don't know if you can agree with me on this, Sauce, but Mandy Rose going to NXT was the best thing for her career.
Oh yeah, 100%.
It really was. Well, one, I like a nice brunette. So that when she went brunette, that was pretty nice, I'll tell you. But just they gave her a great heel stable, and she could show them how she could work when you have all these other wrestlers on the main roster that she gets lost in. She would get lost in the shuffle. So yeah, her work has been pretty good. And, Mieko Satomura being champion, she's been champion for the UK women's champion for over 400 days, but they don't really broadcast it too much unless your name was Walter or someone else like that, which I like Walter, don't get me wrong. But when it came to the women's division, like when Toni Storm was there, they kind of talked about her more, but they didn't talk about really many other people. But Mieko Satomura, she's a veteran. She used to wrestle in WCW in 1996. So it's pretty cool seeing that. And, I don't know much about Blair Davenport, but the stuff I did look up and watch from some of her matches, she's solid. She's a solid wrestler, and that's going to be a good match right there to unify those women's championships. So, and then the other match is so far is Braun Breaker and versus Tyler Bate. Tyler Bate's the only two-time UK NXT UK champion, so it's kind of fitting. He was the first, and now he's the last, technically. So once the belts are unified, it's just going to be the NXT championships. They're not going to use the UK belts, obviously, but it's going to be an interesting match because Tyler Bate's a very good technician wrestler against a muscle like Braun Breaker. And what are your thoughts? We talked a little bit before about Braun Breaker, but what are your thoughts on him in general since he's been in WWE?
So first off, before I get to Braun, Doc over here said, the pay-per-view with the least information. That's also wording for the pay-per-view that I probably care about the least. Especially I saw it because I looked today, I did a little homework and I'm looking like this pay-per-view only got 2 matches. Okay, it's weird, but okay. And so with that being said, Braun, I like Braun, they basically book him the way he's supposed to be. His mic work is pretty decent, pretty solid. When it comes to this match, I just want to see some wrestling. It don't necessarily have to be, a car wreck. Obviously, when you got like a big guy, a bruiser, type of wrestler versus a technical guy. Sometimes it works out pretty decent. Other times it could be William Regal versus Goldberg. But as far as this match, I guess between 2 matches, probably be the one I look forward to the most. As far as the women's match, and I'm so glad that you were the one that said the name because I know I would have butchered the name about 6 times by now. But to give y'all some context, yeah, she been around for a long time. So in '96, I was 13 years old. So, and I'm knocking on 40. I'm knocking on 40-year-old door.
Yeah,
but
yeah. I was what you were. I was 12. You were 13. So yeah, there we go. Yeah. Watching wrestling though.
Yep. And I mean, as far as with Mandy, I think Mandy is just now. The world is starting to find out what I've been saying for the past 2 years. Like Mandy is all. There's always been something there. Even her promos, even her wrestling was always. Excuse me, I thought it was pretty decent, but. Mandy, like to me, Mandy is, obviously she's the one that should have won Tough Enough instead of stupid Sarah Lee. She, when they was doing stuff with her and Sonya Deville, that's also when Sonya Deville started to break out herself. And there was something always there, but it's just like you said, she was getting lost in the shuffle. It was like it was always like an upwards battle for her because they didn't have like a women's mid-card belt, so you couldn't put that on her while she was on the main roster. But you bring her down to NXT, put a stable behind her, bam, she's money. So now when she comes back up, which I'm sure will be sooner rather than later, she'll come in, have her spot solidified, as far as main roster. Who knows if the crew will show up with her, but she'll come back and she'll be ready to go.
Well, yeah, and I'll tell you right now, because they just had like the women's tag team championship tournament and the Toxic Attraction, her partners, they were brought up to the main card to wrestle. So I thought that might actually tell something. If you think about it, Mandy Rose might either keep the belt, or she drops the belt and she comes up to the main card. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So I could see that happening, especially if they brought them up, but we'll have to wait and kind of see on that. But I going back to with Mandy Rose a little bit, they tried a little bit with Otis. Remember that got over for months. For months that got over, like the women's Royal Rumble when Otis laid on the ground, so she couldn't. We always talk about the Kofi Kingston moments and the other people that do crazy stuff. Moments. And when I saw that, I was like, you know what? Big guy that helps out. I like that, and it worked so well for the character. So. But yeah, I'm hoping they're gonna keep pushing her, and So I'm pretty sure also, since there's only 2 matches on there, this was kind of a short notice thing, that the tag team titles are also going to be on there to be unify them. That's something also that would be good. I do a little bit more research on that only because I'm not really familiar too much with the UK brands tag teams, but I'm sure it's going to be a good one. I'm sure.
Well, by this time next week, it'll be more of us talk about reactions and how the match went. So
absolutely. So, it looks like we have a. Oh, there we go. So what's up with Vince Russo claiming he's been working with WWE since 2020 from Karaoke or Die? So let me tell you, I did read this report, and I'm pretty sure he's full of it. I'm pretty sure he's saying this to get the marks and the smarks fighting with each other about it. Yeah. I don't really believe it because Russo's been notorious for tweeting and doing this podcast and riling people up. If it was true, I mean, obviously we've watched wrestling. We've seen what's happened. You could be like, oh, I'm going to blame him for the stuff. I still don't believe it. I just don't believe it actually has happened since then. But what do you think, Sauce?
Here's what I think happened. Maybe one of the writers that he's cool with or build a rapport with him, they might have asked him like, hey, what should I do with this? Or where do you go with that? And he might have gave him, something here, something there. And all of a sudden he's like, yeah, I'm a consultant, bro. Yeah, bro. Just, just have him, do this stupid finish that doesn't make sense, bro. But the only thing I could think of that Russo could have been a part of was when they had the Viking Raiders and Street Profits, when they was doing all those like stupid.
Oh my gosh, the 3-point challenge or
the 3-point challenge, the axe throwing stuff, all those stupid stuff, and that could have probably been Russo. Russo could have probably had a hand in that, or told one of the writers like, "Yeah, bro, yeah, you should definitely do that." And, have some Vikings, have the Viking guys shoot a couple J's, bro. That was
oh my gosh,
awesome, bro.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Hey, remember the matches they had with Akira Tozawa and the Ninjas, and then
dude we thought was Shaquille O'Neal, but it turned out it ended up being let's say Umas or Omos.
Omos.
Yeah, Omos. It turned out to be him, but for the longest, I know we're going off the subject a little bit, but I still say that was Shaquille O'Neal that first time.
Yeah, we were for sure thought it because he likes wrestling. It wouldn't be unheard of to have like a little, cameo there. But yeah, that I can believe he did that.
Like watch, like 20 years from now, you know how we found out that Kevin Nash was Super Shredder? We're gonna find out that was Shaquille O'Neal. that was fake Omos.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, to answer your question, as far as to answer your question, Karaoke, I just think that he might have had a rapport with a couple of writers there, and they might have asked him something, or they might have been talking about work, and he might have just like, hey bro, you should try this, and then all of a sudden here we are in 2022.
Yeah.
I will say though with Russo, the only good thing I will say about him is he made, let's say, because of him, Booker T was champion. That's about it.
I would absolutely give you that. I mean, I watched, WCW for a long time and up until it was bought out. And during that time when, the infamous Bash the Beach, Jarrett laying down for Hogan leaving, the shoot him promo, and then Booker T, getting pushed. And then he wins 4 championships, so that was great. I was elated. They finally were giving him a chance,
Yep.
So I definitely agree with that. So, oh gosh. But so basically that's all that we know so far for Worlds Collide. If they add any other matches to it, we're not sure yet, but I'm sure it'll be okay. I'm sure it'll be a good show. So
what we got next, Doc?
So I say we'll go back to Saturday now. Saturday at 1:00 Eastern Standard Time, we have the Clash at the Castle in Cardiff, which is I feel like it's gonna be the biggest pop in the crowd since WrestleMania, and I mean not 3 or 4 WrestleManias ago, because this crowd's gonna be hot for a show that they haven't had. I would have to look it up, but in so long. And I mean, tickets apparently were sold out immediately, so quickly for the show.
Oh, I believe
But
it.
yeah, so it's in the card, and the card's fire. I'll tell you that. We talked a little bit about our most anticipated matches next week, and we're going to go through that as well today. But I'll start with the match they just announced yesterday, which was they announced that Rey Mysterio and Edge are going to fight Judgment Day, which, it's a long time coming. Obviously, they've been building back the Edge, feud with them. And it's nice to see them back together after so many years during the original SmackDown tag team era belt. Like, it's crazy seeing them like 20 years ago,
Yep.
and now you're like, oh my God, look at that. We're back. So,
And then in that amount of time, Rey Mysterio has gone through like 4 new pairs of legs since then.
oh my gosh, he really is like the bionic luchador, I believe. Yeah, patent pending. I'll say it, book it. But and also one thing that they're hinting towards now, it might come to fruition, is the whole Dominic possibly turning heel. They've already kind of set it up the past few weeks where he's missed the opportunity to help Ray or whatnot, and now Ray picked Edge to be his partner. So we'll see. Rhea Ripley has been beating the crap out of him every week, which, not gonna lie, that's not a bad thing. I'd take the gig, I think. But I just feel like it makes sense for that to happen. But I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Well, just looking at this card, I feel like this is the match I'm gonna care about the least. This might be my bathroom break match, but they're going to be they'll do a few throwback moments and whatnot. For the most part, I know they're trying to make this Judgment Day thing work, and I really don't care. I think the only way that this whole Judgment Day thing, I think what they need to do is add a third member, and then I might be invested. But until then, this is gonna be a bathroom break match for me. I'm just gonna be honest with you.
Hey, you know what? Depending on how the match starts going, it might be too. But we'll see. We'll see what ends up happening on it, because I would rather more time for some of these other matches on the card than put more time to this one.
Now my question is, now as far as, I guess, when we go further through these, I guess the people are probably interested to hear our thoughts as far as who we probably going to think is going to win. So
absolutely, man.
So as far as we'll tread back a little bit with NXT, like I feel like Braun will probably win, and I think as far as the women's, it's still up in the air. But right now, I'm gonna say Mandy will probably lose and go into the main roster and do her thing.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you on both points on that. Like, that's why I had mentioned that about when her team, Toxic Attraction, was in that tournament. It made sense to start that, then bring her onto that roster, because now you got 2 triple female heel teams now on each show.
Yeah.
If that, what I'm saying, you got Bayley's group, and then you could have the Toxic Attraction group on SmackDown. So it would actually work pretty well. But in Braun Breaker, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I don't. It would be cool though to give Tyler Bate the win, because you got to remember he can win it, and it's still the NXT championship, and then he'll come and wrestle in NXT. So they could give him the win there, and then also have a nice little rebound match.
Right.
So actually, you know what? I'm going to change it. I'm going to go the dark horse. I'm going to say Tyler Bate. I'm going to say Tyler Bate's going to win.
Oh, and another disclaimer, y'all. Listen, this is just our predictions. So if you take our predictions and you go to Vegas, if you lose all your money, don't blame us, okay? I'm just telling y'all right now, this is just 2 local boys from Michigan, just spewing our thoughts. So like I said, you take our stuff to the bank you want to, but don't be mad at us if it don't work out. So
yeah, I don't want you down there like he said, Brun. He said Tyler Bates.
Down there, go to Motor City Casino. Yeah, let me put 400 on Tyler. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, I'm just
they would look at you like, what? Tyler, what are you talking about?
Yeah, so I'm just letting y'all know ahead of time. So yeah, don't blame us if it don't work out. But as
There you
far as so back to bring ourselves back up to speed. So as far as who I got going for the Judgment Day versus you know Ray and Edge, I mean my money is on Judgment Day because something's going to happen where it's going to involve probably Dominic and Judgment Day and get the win.
Yep, that one I definitely am going to agree with you on. They're already setting it up way too much for it. Finn Balor is going to get a big pop regardless being there,
Oh
even
yeah,
though he's on this heel team. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of, to me it makes sense for that to happen because then they'll set it up and then they'll have another match at Extreme Rules the next pay per view and it'll be I could see them doing the TLC match because Edge is there. Think about it. You know what I'm saying? Like they'll do some match, but who knows? Who knows? But unless you got anything else for that match,
no,
moving on.
we could definitely move on from that match.
Move on. We're gonna move on right
other
now.
Than that, I could care less.
So the next match, I mean, obviously, no, we don't know the order of it and all, but there's the like the 6-woman tag team match, which Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, and Asuka versus Bayley's new group, and Dakota Kai, and Io Shirai. Changing names again. I don't know what's going on. So, I mean, this match right here, it's just, to me, it's the return of Bayley. It's really just seeing her back wrestling, and I'm happy to see it.
Oh yeah,
it's kind of like one of those because Becky Lynch got hurt at the last show, so it's like she can't wrestle for a little bit, and you put Bianca with two faces, which is weird because Asuka. I've always liked Asuka, and she's a heel, like she's a natural heel. Alexa Bliss, a natural heel.
Yeah.
But I feel like they don't know what they are doing with Alexa Bliss now. I've always liked her, but I don't think they know what they want to do with her, and it bothers me a little bit. But as long as she's getting on the show and work, it's good. And I'll have to say, even with all that, I'll definitely have to say that Bayley. I mean, she has to win. There's no way she's not winning this match.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, even Stevie Wonder can see them winning. I mean, they did drop. As you sit here and talk about the names, it just came to me that they kind of dropped the ball. You got a Sky and a Kai, but you got a Bayley. They should have been Sky, Kai, and Bye.
There you go. Hey,
but besides the point, Bayley's team. There's no reason for them not to win. I mean, basically, Bianca, Oscar, and Alexa. It's just something that just kind of just threw them together and they said, okay, well, here you go. Since we're not going to do a women's title match, so we'll give Bianca something to do as far as throw them in here and then just let them all do their thing, get their stuff in, get the crowd going. If I'm me personally, if I'm booking this whole as far as card, I'm putting this match first because this is gonna get the crowd going, and especially because Bayley's return. Bianca's your champion, so what better way to get your crowd hyped and going than this match right here.
I'm with you on that for sure. And it's interesting you talk about like with Bianca's belt not on the line, but like the next match we're gonna talk about, but Liv Morgan's SmackDown Women's title is on the line against Shayna Baszler. Now, this right off the bat is more of Triple H is doing, which in a good way. Shayna Baszler comes in, was dominant in NXT, comes to the main roster and does nothing. She barely did anything, and it was sad. You finally had like the MMA like the women wrestlers that they would have, and they didn't do anything with her. It was kind of sad to see it, But now she's getting pushed. She's not just kind of like a hench woman, doing the dirty work. I'm excited to see it, but it'll be very interesting with Liv Morgan because I'm a big fan of her too. I do like that she was champion. She got the belt and she deserved it. But then the fans started kind of turning on her, because that's what happens to face champions. A good baby face sometimes the fans just turn because they don't. You got the belt now. I always refer to it as the Sting syndrome. Sting in WCW back in the day, Surfer Sting. Chase the championship. Great TV, great drama. Wins the belt. That's it. No one cares. They care. He loses the belt, and it goes on from there. So I feel like I hope. I don't know. It's weird because I was listening to the crowd when they're not really with her, even though they were extremely happy that she won the belt. I would hope that how the crowd's gonna be completely different because in Cardiff, so it could be anything anyway. But I think the match is gonna be good, but it'll be interesting only because you got two completely different styles of wrestling. Liv is not like she had to fight Ronda Rousey and now Shayna Baszler. Like you're talking about the two MMA type fighters here. So
this is what I think is going to happen. So it's funny you mentioned as far as like how some people when they chase the belt, the chase is better than actually getting it. And big example was Bayley when she came up to the main roster. They but then again the booking screwed that all up. Like she won the title way too early.
Yeah.
But it was like when Bayley came up, he was like, okay, she's up here now. When are we going to get her as far as the title shot? And when she, after them botching it, yada, yada, yada. And then once she got the belt, it was like, okay, we don't care about Bayley no more. But as far as this match goes, my money is on Liv only because I think they're going to do something where she's somehow going to survive. She's going to survive Shayna. And this is going to set up, not at Ronda's back. Ronda's back. I feel like it's going to set up some type of like triple threat as far as with her and those two. And we'll see as far as where that goes. But right now, I'm saying Liv, she'll basically escape again. And then, live to fight, basically she'll live to fight another day.
Let's see. I see what you did there.
Yeah. But for the most part, to be honest with you, I'm not really invested in this match much either, only because after we saw what happened at SummerSlam, how that went, it's just like, I feel like this might be a part 2 of that. Or, with Triple H, maybe he might give us, since it's a title match, give us like maybe 12, give us about maybe 8 to 12 minutes of just, Liv just trying to survive, and then somehow gets lucky again and, ends up pinning Shayna. And then at this point, then Shayna and Ronda, they can probably go into like, Liv, your luck is going to run out. And it's only a matter of time. You got lucky with me. You got lucky with her. Now let's see what happens, against the both of us.
You actually mentioned something that might be it's a good idea. So with the next pay-per-view being Extreme Rules, I could easily see what you said. Liv Morgan survives this match. Then it's a triple threat match, and it's a submission match. So no controversy. There's no pinning involved. It has to be a submission, and it's Ronda, Shayna, Liv Morgan, and I could see that happening. And then something, whether one of them wins it or Liv comes in, wins it, what I'm saying? I could see that happening because of the next pay-per-view coming up. So,
so now that you mentioned it, so let's say they did do a triple threat. They did like a, triple threat submission match. How much you want to bet that they're both going to do some type of submission on Liv, and she's going to tap out, and then you're not going to know who the winner is. Going to call it a draw, and once again she escapes. I'm just saying, Triple H. Listen, we give you gold here, okay? Just book it, okay?
Book it.
Listen, we are giving you pure gold, okay? This is.
If I had a book, I'd drop it right now and be like, book it.
listen. We giving this to you for free $99, okay, Triple H? I'm just saying.
Oh my gosh! You know what? I agree. So that's actually a really good point on that. So.
Then it will kind of like put Liv in an interesting, basically in an interesting role where she'd be kind of like, it's almost like the cowardly, like the cowardly heel, but she'd be like a cowardly face champ who's barely surviving.
Yeah,
and it gets to the point where like she starts to doubt herself and wonder if she's worthy to be a champion. And then, something, once again, Triple H, I'm giving you gold here, okay? I'm
Okay.
saying, this could be gone for the next 20 minutes. But
yeah, it's good storytelling. It's good
Yeah.
story. It pushes the feud further with them not looking bad. You know what I'm saying? So no one looks bad in
Yep.
that match in a sense because Liv gets beat up but can overcome. The two Ronda and Shayna would look good because of their they still look powerful. Yeah, book it.
So yeah, but basically, I don't see Liv winning this match. I just see her surviving this match.
Yep. It's like everyone's like, she survives. How can I bet that, guys? That's like, stop it. Don't bet. No betting.
Once again, y'all don't bet on our picks.
Oh gosh. But like moving on, we'll go back to another championship title match, which this is my personal very excited moment for this pay-per-view. And it's Gunther versus Sheamus. Now, we've already talked a little bit about, a little about like Sheamus and Gunther last week on our European episode, but I think it's going to be a banger for a few reasons. You have Sheamus, who finally getting back in the groove again, with some good work. He's always had pretty good work, and he's been great on the mic, so that's, he just had some bad booking here and there, and but whenever he was champion, like heavyweight champion, because apparently I was wrong last week, and I thought he had been Intercontinental champion, and apparently he has not. And this is, they're making that a story, like he's never won the IC belt, so now he's going to try to win it at Clash. So, but when he was like the WWE champion, or even the World Heavyweight champion, the big gold, he always got out of the convenience. He beat Roman Reigns in 5.5 minutes or something after he was champion, and then he gloated. Then he lost the belt right back to him.
Yep.
He won the belt before that. I can't remember. Was it John Cena? I can't remember who he beat right off the top of my head. But he was, he had the spinner belt at one point, championship, and you didn't believe that. You weren't really invested at all with him as a world champion.
Right.
But now, I could see him after this keep pushing him, and it'd be interesting. Now, what's funny about all this is I want Gunther to win. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But what do you think about the match, Sauce?
So, once again, this is definitely going to be a car wreck, and it's going to be a good one. My money, this is a match that I'm definitely looking forward to seeing. I would say right now, my money will probably be on Gunther retaining, because they still got to figure out, they figure out what to do with Sheamus and his group of misfits. And it's funny you mentioned as far as bad booking with Sheamus. This is why I say Sheamus is in my top 5 as far as European guys, because like no matter how you book him, he always makes it work. Always makes it work. So even if you're not totally invested in him at the time, but you still might pay attention to see what he's doing.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But as far as these two, I just want to see some chest slapping. I just want to see some boots colliding. Butch comes out there and does, Butch comes out there and beats Butch. And yeah, as far as this match, yeah, I'm definitely going with Gunther on this one.
Yep. Yeah, I'm excited because I've always liked, the Walter, now Gunther, when he was in the UK brand, and now he came over and he worked his butt off, getting toned, slimming down, and It worked. They brought over, one of his Imperium gut people, which was great, with Ludwig. And what they've done so far, I'm so happy to see it. Apparently there was some rumors saying that if McMahon was still in charge, that they were going to bury him, that he was going to get completely buried, and I believe it 100%. It would have happened.
Yeah, it would have been like Vladimir Kozlov 2.0.
Oh my gosh, you had to bring up Vladimir Kozlov.
That's basically what would have happened.
Yep. You remember he had the shorts, like the tidy whitey shorts,
Oh, yeah.
trunks, I always called them.
Oh, yeah.
You know, oh my
Kozlov
gosh.
was great. I don't care what nobody say.
Gosh, the monster heel, and then what do they do with monster heels? They
Feed him
make
to
him a
Cena.
joke character. They make him a joke character.
After they feed him to Cena.
Yep. Oh my gosh. But yeah, it can go either way. Obviously the crowd's gonna be super hot for Sheamus, but they'll still be I think they'll still be hot for Gunther.
Oh, they're gonna be hot for both.
And I could see this easily going into Extreme Rules, as a rematch. Like you said, if Gunther retains, rematch at Extreme Rules in some, a chair match or not even that. I would rather just maybe I would love to see this. Put them in an Iron Man match. Do it. You're never going to see Iron Man matches really anymore unless they're on TV as opposed to a pay-per-view because they don't want to waste an hour of pay-per-view time. But put it on TV, and I guarantee you it could be a huge, success. But I'd like to see them do an Iron Man match, and I think it would be pretty sweet.
Oh yeah, I feel like if it does go to Extreme Rules, if anything, they'll probably do like a last man standing match.
Ah, there you go. That's cool. So, yep, I'm with Gunther for this one as well. But yeah, let's try. Yeah, just moving on with the card. It looks like. Oh yes. Now I'll turn it over to you on this one because this was the match that you were looking for the most.
Oh, you talking about Riddle? Let's say Riddle and Rollins. I'm sorry, Matt Riddle and Seth Rollins now. He got his first name back now. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the match I'm looking forward to. You got two guys that awesome workers in the ring. I mean, Seth Rollins speaks for himself. I mean, it ain't really much else you can say that we need to say about him. And then now you got Serious Riddle instead of Stoner Riddle. And some people are upset about that. I'm like, once again under McMahon, McMahon loves his characters, but this is Triple H now. This is Triple H's Riddle. And for the most part, that's kind of like, so he was never like this serious, this type of serious in NXT. Even though NXT, he was still laughing jokey, but he was about his business. And I think you're getting a much more aggressive Riddle with now. But yeah, these two are going to tear the house down. They definitely going to steal the show. I mean, granted, the crowd's going to be great for the main event, which we'll get to in a little bit. But this is the one that's definitely going to have people out of their seats, and they're definitely going to tear the house down. I'm looking forward to it. And then I would say my money is definitely on Riddle.
After watching their feud build up for the past few weeks, and I mean, it's so good to see that again. See actual feuds where they continue and keep pushing forward with great promos. Yeah. If you haven't seen the promo from yesterday's Raw, you got to watch it because it was good. It was good. And one thing with Seth Rollins, we've been talking about before, he honestly can do anything gimmick-wise, and he can get over. It just works for him. I mean, we can joke and say he's been so many different gimmicks. He's Seth frickin' Rollins. He's the Beast Slayer. He's the Messiah, Monday Night Messiah.
King Slayer,
the Shield member, the champion that chicken, crap.
The cowardly champ.
Yeah. And he's great at all of them. He's great. He just makes it work. And think about this. When Cody Rhodes came back at WrestleMania, had a great match. Then they had another great match. So then you have a third match that happens, and he still loses, but he makes him look good. This is a guy that wanted to have a great show, so he, whether he had so much say in it, I believe he still did, but he still made him look good. And the fact that Cody Rhodes was injured and finished that match that's beyond crazy. I mean, so the fact that he is he's humble and not selfish about these things is a big deal, So if I had to say a winner, I think Seth Rollins is going to win, but it's close. Okay. It's a close match. It's gonna be something real close on it, but but the feud will continue for for a little bit. And but yeah, I'm gonna go with Seth Rollins on that.
That's fair.
hmm And rounding out the Clash, I always want to say Clash of the Champions. I swear, I keep wanting to say it, the Clash at the Castle. Isn't that a game? Isn't that a game like we could play the little, Flash game you'd play? Castle
Oh
Crash?
yeah,
No, the Castle Crasher is a different one. That's a
great game.
that's a good.
Great game. You got never played it.
Yep, great game. Great game. Not sponsored. Great game though.
Yeah, that's about
But yes, you have the undisputed WWE Universal Championship, Drew McIntyre versus Roman Reigns, and man, it's been back and forth for weeks, and the promos have been great. All the stuff they've been doing with the run-ins, everything, it's been good. It's been great. I'm personally still on the fence back and forth what they'll do. You got the extremely hot crowd they're going to blow up for Drew McIntyre. They're going to blow up for him. So it's like, do you give him the championship or, as we've already mentioned, push it till Extreme Rules? To me, personally, if they're going to give it to Drew, they need to give it to him at the show. Like, don't wait till the Extreme Rules show that, not many people are going to watch that compared to this show,
Right.
But what do you think?
Until I see it happens, until I see him lose it, with my own 4 eyes, I'm just still going to say Roman's keeping it to Mania.
So you're acknowledging your daddy.
Yep. No, I say I'm just acknowledging my Friday night boss. That's all.
There you go.
That's all. But look, this is definitely gonna be a good main event. This once again is gonna be like a car wreck. Two guys. As Big E says, two guys just slapping sweaty meats with each other and just tearing the house down. And like I said, until I see him actually lose the belts, I'm going Roman all day.
Oh yeah. And you know what? I'll tell you right now, we'll have to keep a running tally because we usually have like these wrestling get-togethers, and I'm doing it for this weekend. Not necessarily for that show, but we'll have some running tallies. Like, okay, we got Claymore 1, 2, 3. Okay, Superman Punch 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, Spears 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like, honestly, you can almost have a drinking game just based off that. So
I was just about to say, like, for those at home who need to, we have parties who need drinking games, Superman punches, Claymores, how many times they do it, never hurts. And actually, too, another good drinking game is sometimes you can, with the main event, sometimes you can put like the over under as far as what you think how long it'll go, and basically everybody who gets it wrong, they basically have to take a drink.
Yeah, we used to do that when Brock Lesnar would have his matches and they were comically short. So then we just started doing that, and everyone's like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be like 10 minutes, 15 minutes." I'm like 5.5 minutes, and I would win.
Yeah. We used to then we do that with him and Goldberg.
Oh my lord. Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. So. Yeah, it's gonna be a good match. They're gonna give them probably about 30, 40 minutes probably for that match.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I think it's gonna be a good match. I'm gonna say McIntyre wins. I'm gonna go with McIntyre. I totally can understand the Roman Reigns thing, winning and killed onto the belt, but they're making a big deal about the fact that he's had the belt for 2 years straight. It's like pushing all that, and maybe he wins it there. He might lose it soon after. I don't know. But I'm saying McIntyre wins it. So
let me think. Well, now that you mentioned it, I'm trying to think. Usually when they acknowledge somebody like winning anything, as far as I should say, when they acknowledge like the streak, I wonder, now I'm starting to think like how soon does it come to an end, or does it usually come to an end like the next match, next pay-per-view, next month? So I'm thinking about, like, obviously when CM Punk had his reign, when New Day had their reign, obviously when Asuka and Shayna Baszler had their reigns or whatnot. I'm just, in my head, I'm just trying to think, like, once those is acknowledged, did those folks like lose the belt? How soon do they lose their belts? So it's just something to think about.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that. Yeah. Hey, that's another thing we can research and see,
Yeah.
for another topic we can talk about, belts, champion reigns, longest, shortest, joke reigns. There's so much to go with that, but yes,
I say that'll be a podcast in the future.
for sure. So that right there, Clash at the Castle. Looking very forward to it. 1:00, Saturday Eastern Standard Time, because they're
I'll be
over
at
in
work.
Cardiff. Sauce will be at work. I will be home and out and about and doing stuff, but I'll be watching the majority of that show. Yes, so and should be good though. And kind of like rounding out the rest of this weekend, we also have AEW. AEW has their next show, their All Out show, where looking at this card, it's a doozy. I'll tell you that for sure. And this card's not even complete yet because we do still have Dynamite tomorrow and Rampage on Friday. So going into this show, I'll start with that match that's going to be at the show, but really talking about Dynamite and Rampage because they're introducing the new AEW Trios Championship, for three on three champions. So they have been having a tournament for the past few weeks on Dynamite and Rampage, and tomorrow has the Elite, returning Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks versus Will Ospreay and the British Reign, I believe is their name, or the British the United Empire. And I'm telling you, if you've ever seen anything with Will Ospreay or Kenny Omega, or you haven't, just go to YouTube and just look up any kind of clips. Doesn't have to be recent, can be some of our older stuff. You're in for a treat. And it's crazy that this match actually isn't on the pay-per-view. Like, this is actually tomorrow to see who's going to be in the finals to go to All Out for the Trios title. So going with that match happens. And then on Friday Rampage, you have the Dark Order versus Best Friends. And Best Friends, of course, has got everyone's favorite wrestler, Orange Cassidy, wrestling, Yep. But I wish I had the glasses. I actually did have a pair around here, and it got cleaned up, and I would have put them on. But
quick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry to cut you off.
Go ahead.
So did you catch the Kenny Omega promo he did after they went off air with Ospreay?
No, I did not actually.
Yeah, it was good. Like, they should have had it on. I'm glad that they at least put it on YouTube, but like, they should have had it on the show. But yeah, like Kenny Omega, he definitely railed into him quite a bit. So I'll leave it at that.
Oh wow, gosh, yeah. See, that's the thing. Probably being on TBS, they're locked into that exact time. They can't really run over as much. That's probably why I would assume. I would hope so, because if it was that good and not having it on the show, but yeah, I'll have to look that up. Thank you, Sauce. That would be extra saucy. So those two matches will then round out the first match I'm going to talk about, which will be, again, the winners of those two matches. And it's going to be a good match. They're obviously setting up for Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks to win the first Trios Championship.
Yep.
I mean, it just makes sense. But, I would love to see Will Ospreay and the United Empire. But the problem is with Will Ospreay he's contracted with New Japan Pro Wrestling. He wrestles in AEW because they have a kind of a working agreement.
Yep.
But that's pretty much it. I highly doubt that they would win and then win the titles when he's not even really under contract with AEW.
Right.
So, but for a good match, yeah. Now, as for like the Dark Order or Best Friends, I mean, to not have Orange Cassidy on the pay-per-view, yeah, I find that hard to believe. So I know people like the Dark Order. I do.
I mean, like, seriously, like who's looking at pay-per-view saying, God, I hope the Dark Order is on there? Nobody.
But you say Orange Cassidy.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's yeah. So if it's the Elite versus Orange Cassidy and Best Friends. I mean, that's gonna be money. It's gonna be a fun match. It's gonna be very comical. You're gonna see lots of super kicks. Again, another good drinking game. Every super kick that anybody does, drink, you'll be pretty much knocked out after like 4 matches, maybe 3, depending.
So, I mean, as far as this match goes, as far as the tournament goes, I just don't understand what's wrong with the Freebird rule. That's all I'm saying. Like the trios championship when they first introduced it, I thought it was just a joke. But I was like, okay, wow, they're really doing this. But I mean, it's just like that was my first thought. Like, I mean, last time I checked, there's nothing wrong with the Freebird rule, and I guess it's a way to get more people on TV. So at this point, you're gonna have trios belts, tag belts, and then you'll have, you got your main belt, your mid card belt, and then your women's main belt and women's mid card belt. So
yeah, that's. I mean,
so at this point,
I'm thinking about how all that,
So I guess at this point, the regular tag team belts is going to be kind of like your main, almost like your upper card belts, and these trio belts is going to be kind of like your mid card, give them something to do belts.
Depending on how they book it, like I could see them easily booking it to where, pay-per-views or shows at the trios, especially if the Young Bucks win, you're going to see them on TV all the time. Then you might not see the tag team champions as much. So, and that's not going to sit well with me because technically, like you said, I would treat the trios as, less prestigious than your tag team championship.
Yep.
And the trios titles are, it's more of from like Mexican wrestling, CMLL, AAA. It's more so done there. New Japan has like a trios type belt, but it's not nearly prestigious than their other belts. So to me, it was just a way to get more, like you said, more people on TV, more hardware for people to see, more belt, and I'm a belt guy, that. And even the belts just kind of look generic. I mean,
they're just they're just there.
You have the beautiful AEW championship, and then you have them, the trios belt. Like, I don't know. I don't get it. But so if I had to say, just based off the 4 teams in that could be in it, it's probably going to be the Elite in Kenny Omega, just because they want to be, the AEW founders have to be the first champions, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They but like my money definitely says the Elite, but I want like and my heart says best friends, but the money says Elite. I'll put it that way.
All right. I'm with you.
Because
so,
I mean, let's say, my bad, but let's say if best friends did win, this would be Orange Cassidy's first belt since he's been in AEW.
Which I'm not gonna lie, he deserves one. He deserves something, and that would be a perfect way actually to give him a belt because it's hard. Like right now, it's hard to say he could get the TNT title, their secondary title, with all the competition. But give him that title, it works. So yeah, that's a good point. That's actually a really good point. I'm still going to stick with the Elite, but I could see that happening though. So, as we were talking about the tag team champions, we can move into that match, which is Swerve into Our Glory, which is Keith Lee, another one of my boys. I know you also are a fan of him, and Swerve Strickland, who's always liked Swerve as well. And they're facing the Acclaimed, and the Acclaimed has been. I mean, their promos are pretty fun. I'm not gonna lie, their promos are good. I'm entertained, but this is where I'm talking about. This match is overshadowed by the trios tournament match. Yeah. Whatever that's going to be, this match is going to be they're also on the card. But it probably is going to be a really good match, But what do you think?
So now that you mention it, now that you put it that way, what they should have did was either Rampage or like this week, either Rampage or Dynamite. They should have put the main event as the tag team championship, Swerve and Our Glory versus Acclaim, make that a main event, then what you could have did was finish up the tournament on the pay-per-view. So you have obviously Dark Order versus Best Friends, and then the winner of that will face Osprey and his boys versus the Elite, and then obviously later that night they would do the have the little championship bout. But with that being said, I would say my money is on Swerve and Our Glory, because I feel like even though they claim they're getting somewhat, they started to pick up some steam again, but I feel like something's going to happen either with Billy Gunn and his crew. Something's going to happen where they're going to get involved, and then somehow it's going to screw it up, and then Swerve and Our Glory picks up the W.
Yeah, they've been pushing them too with the Gun Club and everything. They've been pushing that a lot the past few weeks, so I can see that. I absolutely see that. I'm going to stick. Yeah, I'm going to go with Swerve and Our Glory as well. They deserve the belts. They should hold on to them for longer. So we'll see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. Moving on, because again, this is a AEW show. Since they only do 4 main pay-per-views, they fit it all in there. I'll tell you that for sure. Real quick one we'll just do, because I forgot they did this, but they have a casino ladder match, and I had forgot for a second what the rules were, but so basically it's a Royal Rumble as a ladder match. So basically 2 people start. There is a chip, oversized chip, that's basically kind of like the briefcase and the Money in the Bank.
Yeah.
And they start off, and every 2 minutes a wrestler comes in added to the match. But apparently you can win before everyone's even in the match. Now, they have not said who's in the match officially. They have not said how many people are in the match, because that's just, they're going to say, hey, get out there. You want me? Get out there. You're going to see some surprise people. You're going to see some people that, you might see a legend here or something, kind of like all the Royal Rumble. There's surprise entrance or something, but and you win a future AEW World Title shot.
So now that you mentioned legends, all I'm going to say is, please, wrestling gods. Please, wrestling gods. And by wrestling gods, I mean Tony Khan. Please do not get any ideas and have Ric Flair show up to this match.
Oh, gosh.
You would literally kill.
He's already calling.
You would literally kill this man. Like, Jesus will show up on the pay-per-view and drag his ass out of the arena.
Oh, God.
Tony Khan, please, just Tony. I know you're a wrestling fan, and I know you love your legends, but please do not have Ric Flair show up. Just don't. Just don't put him in his match, because the gravity itself will literally kill this man at this point. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. He'll try to climb the ladder and be like, "No, don't even."
Yeah, he's gonna climb the ladder and have a stroke, and then Jesus is gonna pull him up the rest of the ladder on the way down. But as far as casino ladder match, like I said, I don't know who's in it. Or not.
Well, we don't. No one really knows. I mean, they might have said a couple people here and there, but really, it's gonna be a fun match to see.
Yeah.
It's different. Again, people like the Royal Rumble, but this being a ladder match, it kind of reminds me of that time when R-Truth went into the Royal Rumble and thought it was a ladder match, and he brought the ladder in the middle of the ring and he starts climbing it. It was the best. Like. So yeah, we'll see. Again, that's going to be Now it's funny because they do have it on the main card, and I know they do have what's called a buy-in show, similar to like the pre-show or WWE does. But these are all saying they're on the main card, so that's the only reason why we're saying it at this point. But
right,
we'll see what happens. Moving on real quick, we have another one that's an interesting match to me, but it's they're building up a good feud for it, and it's Jungle Boy versus Christian.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Christian Cage. But just watching the promos and everything happening over the past few weeks, it's interesting because it's so outside of what Jungle Boy, Luchasaurus, even Christian, seeing them do some good heel work again. We haven't seen that in a long time, so I think it's still going to be the the wrestling is going to be interesting because, like, if they're going to mesh well together, but the heel work is good. So I think it's going to be. I don't know. I don't. What do you think? I don't know if you've caught any of their stuff.
So I caught his stuff a little bit here and there. As far as the wrestling goes, I mean, Christian always gets overlooked at how great he is in the ring. You know, he's like a regeneral within himself. So I mean, the man has been through 3 different, multiple promotions. You know, he has yet to fail in one. I'll put it that way. And it's funny with this feud because it's like, you remember that one time where, like, for a week, Luchasaurus was like a heel.
Yeah, it was so weird. Like, they were like, okay, he's gonna be a different character, and the next week, no. No.
But my money has to be on Jungle Boy because, as far as the way he, as far as he's like, how people chase for the belt, like he's chasing for the match. So through all this work, I definitely feel like, my money would be on Jungle Boy, definitely.
Hey,
listen. When it comes to wrestler things, hey, we know bangers when we hear them, and definitely Jungle Boy. Yes, it's since day one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, my money is definitely on Jungle Boy. But it's gonna be I would like to see Christian just cut one more little promo to get under the skin, get the crowd all hot. Just one little promo on the way down to the ring or in the ring, then we start the match. That's. Listen, Tony, I don't ask for much. All I ask is that one quick promo and do not have Ric Flair bring his ass to that ladder match. Just all I ask.
Oh my God, please! Gosh.
Oh, the only other thing I ask for, Tony, is please do not make this pay-per-view end at 12:30 in the morning because I got to go to work and I got to be at work in like 7 hours. And
mind you, this man, it's Labor Day on Monday, but he's working. He's picking up. He's making that cheddar cheese. So he chose to work. But it's hey Sauce. I'm not gonna lie. It's gonna probably be 12:30 because we still got a lot to go on this here. But it should be entertaining. A lot of these could be quicker matches. You know how that sometimes it's a real quick match and such like that. But
I got. Let's say I got a match that's gonna be real quick. I'll wait till we get to it.
Okay. So let's see what else we got here. So I'm gonna say this one because the match itself. If it was just this match, I'd be fine with it. But I hate why this match had to happen. It's the 4-way match with Toni Storm, Dr. Britt Baker, Jamie Hayter, and Hikaru Shida for the interim AEW women's title because Thunder Rosa is injured. Whether she's really injured or not, whether it's just a minor thing, I don't care. At this point, I've been very dissatisfied just watching her as champion.
Yeah.
And the fact that it's another interim championship, not just drop the belt. You're hurt, drop the belt. When going back, like when Karrion Kross, NXT, when he won the belt, he got hurt. He had to drop the belt 3 days later. He wasn't interim champion. He was.
Let's say Finn Balor, the first Universal Champion, had to drop the belt.
Yeah, not an interim champion.
Yeah. Daniel Bryan, when he won both the straps, he feuded for a couple. He held him for like a little bit over a month. It didn't seem that long, but when he got hurt with all those concussion stuff, he had to drop the belt. So it's like, I don't like this is not the UFC, okay? Mm-hmm. I understand the UFC because obviously, it's it's a realistic sport, so things do happen and whatnot. But once again, this is pro wrestling. Leave that stuff UFC and drop the belts in pro wrestling.
Yeah, and that's why I said on paper this without that like interim whatnot, that's going to be a great match because when Britt Baker, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD was champion, she was fire. She was fire. Yeah. Her matches were great, entertaining. You wanted to watch those matches.
Yeah.
Thunder Rosa at one point wasn't even on TV for like weeks. Wasn't even shown. It wasn't even not even on the show, and she was champion. And then even when she had a match, it was very, with Serena Deeb, she had the match, and it was so
anticlimactic.
And yeah, down. It was just not. And the fact that they're doing this, make it an interim champion. That's why I say if she's hurt, it's not serious. It's enough to where she can't really wrestle the show, and she might be out for a little bit. But yeah, so I think the match is going to be great. I would say since it's for an interim championship, so you're going to be champion, it's Dr. Britt Baker. Win it back, and then have a nice unification belt for them, both belts, and then you just kick her butt. That's all I gotta say in that match.
Yeah, I mean, and I totally agree. I think we both unanimous in the decision. Have Britt Baker can come in, win the strap. I mean, granted, it'd be nice to see Tony Storm do it, but we also live in reality, and I'll just have her win it. Because Moxley, he pretty much did the same thing. He won it, and then now he's 2-time champ. Have Britt Baker do the same thing. And it's funny because you were talking about how we were talking about earlier, how there's some folks that when they chase the belt, then when they win the belt, it's just like, and that's pretty much like Thunder Rosa. It seemed like the chase was more exciting than her actually having it. So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, because fans, they liked that chase, and then they were like, you're champ. Okay. Yeah. What's up?
Yeah.
So that match, like I said, on paper looks great. It's still going to be a good match, but we'll kind of leave it at that point. Trying to see here. Oh yeah. So on here we have. Oh, it looks like the Pinnacle, Wardlow and FTR versus Jay Lethal, and a huge surprise, but the Motor City Machine Guns, Michigan boys, right here. Because
yeah.
And I'll tell you right now. I mean, Jay Lethal is great too, but the fact is, we've watched wrestling a long time, and we've went to a lot of shows, professional, semi-professional, really semi-professional, and way back in like 2004, 2003, and such. I remember watching, Alex Shelley and Chris Sabin from the Motor City Machine Guns wrestle at a small little place just down the street here, and because they were part of Border City Wrestling, but they were wrestling there, and it was crazy. I mean, I sat there and talked to him, for like a gym smaller than a gymnasium. Just sat there and talked with them for 45 minutes after their match. Thought it was great. I'm like, these guys are gonna be awesome, and then they show up in TNA, and NWA TNA, and then they end up blowing up there, and so seeing them in this match is really cool. It's, to me, I'd like to see them win, but because I'm pretty sure they don't have a contract with AEW. This is another one that they're just here to fill in this whatever this kind of void is. I think it's just so they can fight FTR, honestly.
Yeah.
But I can't wait to see it. I'd like to see them win, but it's more realistic that FTR is going to win with Wardlow.
I think when I say this, I speak for all the wrestling fans in Michigan. At this point, like, we're here for the Motor City Machine Guns and FTR. I mean, Jay Lethal is cool. Don't get me wrong, love to see him, but I don't think nobody's here for Wardlow when it comes to this match. At this point, I just don't even care anymore when it comes to Wardlow. Basically at this point, it's kind of like watching a poor man's Batista until they actually do something more with him. Because like when he won the TNT belt, it was like cool and all, and then all of a sudden, you had to defend it, and then this is like you having like these 20 minute, 15, 20 minute matches with jobbers. It's like they're supposed to, you try to get built, to be the next big thing. And granted, it's not all his fault, booking can play a part in it, but yeah, to me, the way I see this match is it's just FTR versus Motor City Machine Guns, and it just so happens to feature Wardlow and Jay Lethal. But my money is definitely on FTR and Wardlow.
Yeah. And I think this is another reason to not have the TNT title defended, right? Because you put them in a tag match, you can't defend the title. So, and, going back to what you kind of mentioned something about how he's like a Batista clone. I remember when Batista, after they changed him from his Deacon Batista gimmick and they made him into his monster gimmick, that he was, at that point, he was wrestling the supplemental talent or just Incredible on Raw and squashing them. And that works because they did it right away. Wardlow's already been there, had a pretty entertaining feud there with MJF, that, and he's already been there as a monster character.
Yep.
So to have him just fight supplemental talent and all that kind of stuff now, it doesn't make sense. Like you have so many people on your roster.
Well, you
so
could
many people.
Well, I mean, you could like after the MJF, you can have him fight supplemental people for like a minute or so, just to keep the crowd invested. To see then build anticipation. Like, okay, now that he ain't ran through these jobbers. Okay, who's next? But obviously it didn't happen that way, and this is why we don't care about him right now. So.
Yeah. Oh gosh. So yeah, that to me that match. I mean, it's not a bathroom break at all because I want to watch Motor City, Machine Guns, and FTR, but it's one match that's definitely going to be. I could see it being the opening match just for the wrestling there alone, but they'll probably put a title match on the line opening the pay-per-view.
Right.
But I can't. It'll be good. It'll be okay. Just. Yeah. Moving forward, we have. I guess I'm going to guess the match that you thought's going to be the real quick match, and that's going to be Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks. Ricky Starks. I had a feeling. I was like, yeah, this is going to be a squash match. Done and done. They were already pushing Powerhouse Hobbs. They've given him new theme music.
As they should.
That's a good thing. That guy's worked his butt off over the past couple years and whatnot, and he deserves it. So yeah, squash, done.
Hopefully when it comes to Powerhouse, they learn their lesson from Wardlow and not book him the same way. And just keep him, I'm definitely invested in Powerhouse. I mean, the fact that your name is Powerhouse Hobbs alone, come on now. You definitely got to get the victory here.
Yep. I'd have to say the same thing. So, yep. Quick, easy, done. It's all good. So,
yep. Moving on.
So now you have Bryan Danielson versus Chris Jericho. And again, this is something that we've seen in WWE, and that was a great match, So now seeing this again, them consider a little older,
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a really good match. I think this is going to be probably a 20-minute match easily. And I think it's going to be good. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, like with this match, now we're going to it's going to be interesting to see how these guys go in a non-WWE match now. Daniel said he's got a lot more in his arsenal that he can work with. Then obviously Chris Jericho is Chris Jericho. So that man can put on a 4-star match by himself in the bathroom or in the closet. So nothing to be mad about here. Nothing. We see these guys at the dance before. We know what they're about, and it's definitely something I'm looking forward to. Daniel Bryan with with his wrestling, probably one of the best wrestlers since Canada Man. And then you got Chris Jericho, being with his antics, and he's going to talk a whole lot of smack and whatnot. So I'm definitely looking forward to this. I think the best way to do this match is just have Chris Jericho be like the kind of be like the cowardly heel in a sense. Every time Danielson, every time he wants to fully get going, somehow he keeps getting cut off by Chris, like kind of like nerfing him, doing some little antic where he can't go full offense like he wants. So that's how I would do it. But yeah, this match obviously this match easily 15 minutes.
Yep, you got the Lion versus the Dragon. Yep. Lionheart versus the American Dragon, and
I'm pretty sure that's been done on Game of Thrones too.
I see what you did there. There you go. Nice. For someone that didn't really watch it, I like it. I like the reference. That's how we did.
Listen, y'all. I fell off at like season. My problem was I tried to binge it all while the last season was going on, so I catch up. And then that's a show you definitely cannot do that with. I mean, granted, some people, it's all about how they do it. But for me, it definitely didn't work that way.
Well, it's kind of hard to binge dramas, 1 hour plus dramas. It's hard to kind of binge those. like so much because sometimes just at that point when we watch 2 or 3 seasons, we're like, all right, I want to watch comedy now. Let's pop on like Parks and Rec, or It's Always Sunny, or something, or just some to break it up. And then at that point, you're like, stop watching. You go back, you go back to it.
Right.
But I feel you on that.
What we got left, Doc?
Okay, let's see. We got the TBS Championship. We got Jade Cargill versus Athena, the former Ember Moon. Finally, getting on TV, which is good because she has been working this like since the last pay-per-view, debuting in their the work. So, I mean, what's interesting is that Jade, they've obviously been pushing her. I mean, she's the monster undefeated champion, and I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like she is going to retain the title, in like a monster way. She's not going to retain it in like a chicken way. She's going to win it flat out. But I think Athena will give her something. I think she'll kind of put up a fight for it.
Yeah, so as far as with Jade, I look at her as kind of like an ebony Brock Lesnar, and that's basically kind of what I'm hoping for in the ring. Will it be a squash? I wouldn't think so. I would hope not, especially against Athena. Like give those girls 15 minutes, 12 minutes. I definitely think that she definitely gonna have some monster moves in her repertoire. But obviously my money until she might as well just be the sexy ebony Roman Reigns, where until I see it happen, she's basically walking in with the belt or walking out with the belt. So
yep, yeah, we had talked about that before, and that makes sense. It really does. So yeah, I'll say I say Jade's gonna retain the title.
Yeah.
Now that being said, those matches right there are the ones that are officially announced.
Right.
However, I've already talked to you about this. There's no way they're having this pay-per-view without the World Championship on the line.
Right.
So obviously last week, Moxley won the title in definitive manner and unified the interim title with the main title against CM Punk. Yep. Lots of decisiveness. Fans have kind of started turning against CM Punk. There's people that are always going to love him. Moxley's so over champ. Then they're setting up for tomorrow's Dynamite, and they're going to set up a rematch, and that rematch is happening all out. If it doesn't happen, again, this is just my opinion, I would be extremely shocked that they wouldn't pop that on the show, because we already talked about, like, you could even do the Powerhouse Hobbs Ricky Starks thing. You could have them beat him up backstage, and it doesn't even happen. Doesn't even show up. Cut the match in that way, like to get more time. But there's just, in my opinion, there's no way that the world title for AEW is not defended at the show. I just can't. So they're going to see the rematch, and the rematch is going to happen, and CM Punk's going to win the belt back. And I don't want it to happen. I personally would rather have Moxley retain, but they're going to have CM Punk win it back.
So yeah, I'll be super pissed if Punk wins it back. Moxley is basically right now he's the people's champion. If it does, so I will say this: if the match doesn't happen, then the pay-per-view will probably end at about 12:15 instead of 12:45 a.m. And if it does, if it happens, I mean, don't make it too long. Just have Moxley retain to show that he is the top dog. And and then at that point, obviously my money is on Mox if it happens. So
yeah. Hey, there you go. So like I said, that's just my opinion, but that's that match is happening. There's just, I don't see it, them not putting it on there. But yeah, so honestly, I need a drink. Hold on a second. I need another drink. A lot of wrestling this weekend, I'll tell you that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, all week we have wrestling. Tonight, is NXT's tonight, and then tomorrow's Dynamite. and even Impact. Impact's on Thursdays. We don't talk about it too much because there's not much really going on. But when something happens, we'll talk about it. But with all that being said, throughout the week we introduced a new thing that we were going to do last week about a wrestler or someone in the wrestling that we felt that week really gave it something great, whether it was a title win or they just did something that we thought was very beneficial for them in wrestling, called Heat of the Week. So, Sauce, who's Heat of the Week for you?
So my Heat of the Week is obviously Mox. So, become two-time, champion AEW. And actually, I think this is his first two-time champion in the big leagues. Obviously, he's WWE champion. He held the strap for longer than I thought he was going to. He held it for quite a bit. They lost to AJ Styles and then never really saw it again. And then it comes to AEW, tears it up, wins it the first time from, I believe, Omega. And then the second time he wins from Punk to become, the definitive champ. So shout out to him, becoming a two-time champion in the big league. So, and he deserves it. So, he got, he took some time off, got himself together. And this is, definitely the best Mox we've seen in a while. So shout out to him.
That's a good one. That's really a good one. And his work's been great and very entertaining. And like you said, the people's champion. It's the best way to put it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm on board with that. With me, you know what? I told you before we went on with tonight who I wanted to say, and it still makes sense, but I'm going to change it just because I'm just so happy of the work he's done.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Sami Zayn, man.
Hey,
Sami Zayn,
let's go.
Sami
Let's
Zayn,
go.
like the fact that when he started being on TV and then doing the whole thing with the bloodline and then all these promos, and you just thought it was a joke, and he keeps doing it, and it's still, they're already kind of setting it up for one of my favorite wrestlers, Kevin Owens, because him and Sami Zayn, best friends, some of the best wrestling matches I've ever seen, fighting each other together, back and forth. They're kind of setting it up to where Sami Zayn's probably going to be kicked out of the bloodline or some way or another, or turn on him, and then I could easily see Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens reuniting to then face off against the Usos, which then would be another great match that I would love to see. But the fact that how much he's actually been doing with the bloodline, even on the SmackDown on Friday that you went to, Sauce, the ending was awesome, So
once again, I will say this is a little bit of a preview, but definitely stay tuned to Friday Night SmackDown. If you thought what he did Monday was good, wait till you see Friday. That's all I'm gonna say.
There you go. So,
but keep it going.
Oh no, that's all good.
Yeah.
Oh, that was it. Just like I said, Sami Zayn, he deserves the respect because of his work ethic and the fact that he's been on TV so much, and his work is a good thing.
I think the best thing Sami Zayn did was the second best thing he did was turn heel.
Yes.
As far as him being on the main roster, because at this point he would have been on main event, superstars, Velocity, whatever they do now.
At all,
the second best thing was him become, turning heel, give him something to do, give him something to work with. The best thing he ever did was grow his hair out.
Yep, the beard, the hair. Yep.
Well, he always had the beard, but the hair growing out, because it kind of it works for him as a heel, because it kind of makes him like that little scoundrel, and kind of like the little scoundrel from the 80s cartoons, where it's dang it, foiled again, for my master plan. And it definitely works for him too, it being a cowardly heel. It's this is some of his best work probably since he was El Generico.
Yep.
And even in NXT, he was awesome, babyface, in NXT, because at that time he was definitely kind of like the people's champ down there. He was kind of almost like the Daniel Bryan down there, where he's just like the underdog guy that you just want to see on top or whatnot. But on the main roster, not like I said, that dastardly, cowardly heel. That every time he gets beat, he dang it, foiled again. And yeah, and I mean, if y'all not paying attention to Sami Zayn, listen, y'all missing out. That's all I can say.
For sure. I do miss the camera crew though. That was a great gimmick. Was his own, documentary he was doing. That it was very funny. So, but that's a week, okay? And this is just the go home stuff. Next week, man, we're gonna have a lot to talk about.
It's gonna be a lot of get ready for those headlock ratings.
Lots of headlock ratings. You know what? We should do something we got for like a negative thing, which I don't know. We'll think of something, but I think of like a Ric Flair flop or or something. I don't know. We'll think of something.
I got something, but it'll be all. I'll tell you off camera.
There we go. But yeah, I mean, if you have anything else you wanted to talk about, I think we're pretty good for today. We've talked a lot about everything, and we're good covered, and hopefully, again, no betting on our just our predictions.
Once again, we're not responsible for what happens. We're not responsible for what you do at Greektown Casino. Okay, I'm just letting y'all know right now. Don't be trying to bet your house, your car, and Greektown. No, don't do it. Okay. No. Once again, these are just our picks. These are our predictions. Listen, just do it if you want, but if something backfires, it's on you.
Oh, that's cool. Yep, I hear you, man. But with that being said, I think we're gonna tune out for tonight. And thank you all for watching. And make sure you want to subscribe, like anything. If you got anything, comment later. Let us know. Because hey, we like hearing from you guys. And with that being said, I'm Dr. Love. This is the boss with the Sauce Bronson. And we're gonna see you next week, man.
Hey, listen, wrestling fans, stay safe and be good.